13, 14. Sarvata pani padam tat sarvato shiro mukham sarvato shrutimal loke sarvam avritya tishtati sarvata pani padam yeah sarvata pani padam tat sarvato shiro mukham sarvato shrutimal loke sarvam avritya tishtati Sarvata pani padang tat sarvato shiro mukham sarvato shrutimaloke sarvam avritya tishtati. Prabhus?
Can I try, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu. Try panning, Prabhu.
Sarvata pani padam tat sarvado aksisiro mukam sarvada srutimal loke sarvam avartya tishtati. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else? Prabhus, Matajis?
Try,
I
Prabhu.
try, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sarvata pani padam tat sarvado aksi siro mugam sarvada surutima loke sarvam artyaya darsati. Hare Krishna, sir.
Yes. Yes, Prabhu, you can try. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
सर्वता पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोषि शिरोमुखं सर्वथा श्रुतिमाल्लोके सर्वम् आवृत्य तिष्ठति.
Yeah. Sarvata. Everywhere. Pani. So, pani means hands. Right. So, pani. If you go to Kumbakonam is in South India. So, நம்ம கும்பகோணத்துக்கு போனோம்னா அங்கே in Kumbakonam is full with Divya Desam. Divya Desamna, one of the important, when we say Divya Desam, means it is one of the 108 most important temples for the Vaishnavas. So, a total of 108 temples, and all those temples have been visited by Alvars. Alvars are the Vaishnava Acharyas coming from the Sampradaya of Lakshmi, Sri Sampradaya. So, ஆழ்வார்கள் வந்து இந்த டெம்பிளில் போய் அவங்க பகவானை பற்றி புகழ்ந்து பாடும்போது ஸோ த டெம்பிள் இஸ் நோன் as திவ்ய தேசம். கும்பகோணத்துக்கு நம்ம போனோன்னா அங்கே நிறையா டெம்பிள்ஸ் இருக்குது. லைக் காஞ்சிபுரம் ஆல்சோ நிறைய டெம்பிள் இருக்குது, திவ்ய தேசம். ஸோ கும்பகோணத்தில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா பகவானுடைய பேர் அங்கே வந்து ஒரு டெம்பிள் இருக்கும். பகவானுடைய பேர் வந்து சக்கரபாணி. சரிங்களா? ஸோ பகவான் இஸ் ரிசைடிங் த and his name is Chakrapani. So what is the meaning Pani? Pani means hand. Chakrapani means the one who is holding a chakra. சரிங்களா? So there is also another temple, Divya Desam also, known as what is his temple name? Bhagavan will be holding bow. சரிங்களா? So Chakrapani means Bhagavan is holding chakra, and Sarangapani, yes, Saranga means what? Saranga means bow. So Sarangapani is also in Kumbakonam. So அந்த மாதிரி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா Pani means hand, and that's how we can understand this word Pani. So very beautiful temple, Chakrapani temple பார்த்தீங்கன்னா this is a temple where Lord Surya Bhagavan, the personification of sun god, will directly worship this Chakrapani. So and this particular temple is also named as Bhaskara Kshetra. Bhaskara Kshetramna, the place of sun god. Bhaskara means referring to the sun, Bhaskaran. Right? So the sun god personally reside there and will be worshipping Chakrapani. ஸோ இதுதான் வந்து நம்ம பார்க்கலாம். ஸோ நிறைய விஷயங்கள் இருக்குது. ஸோ சர்வத்தோ பாணி, ஹேண்ட்ஸ். பாதம், பாதம் மீன்ஸ் லேக். Legs, padam. So padam is referring to lake. Tat, sarvato, everywhere. Akshi. What is akshi? Akshi means eyes. So மதுரைக்கு போனீங்கன்னா மதுரையில் வந்து யார் இருக்கா? மதுரையில் மீனாட்சி. ஸோ மதுரை மீனாட்சி. ரைட். ஸோ பகவான் அங்கே இருக்கார். மதுரையில் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா கல்லழகர் இருக்கார். அவர் தான் அங்கே வெரி ஃபேமஸ் பகவான் கல்லழகர். ஸோ கல்லழகருடைய தங்கச்சி பார்த்தீங்கன்னா மதுரை மீனாட்சி, அவங்களும் அங்கே தான் இருக்காங்க. ஸோ அவங்க பேருங்க மீனாட்சி. பிகாஸ் அவங்க கண்ணு வந்து அவ்வளோ அழகாக இருக்குமா. எப்படி அழகாக இருக்கும்? மீனம் மாதிரி, வெரி பியூட்டிஃபுல், லைக் த ஃபிஷ் ஐ. So therefore her name is also known as Meenakshi. So அந்த மாதிரி Akshi means eyes. So Shira means what? Head. So Akshi, Shira, Mukam means face, phases. Sarvata, everywhere. Shrudimat, having ears. Shruti means to hear. Ears, having ears. Loke, in the world. Sarvam, everywhere. Avrittaya, covering. Tishtati, exist. So, translation here. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes, heads and faces. Everywhere are his hands and legs, his eyes and heads and faces. And he has ears everywhere. In this way, the super soul exists, pervading everything. Right. So, anyone can read the purport? Someone? Prabhus?
Can I read, Prabhu?
Yeah, padinga, bro.
As the sun exists diffusing its unlimited rays, so does the super soul or the supreme personality of Godhead. He exists in his all-pervading form, and in him exist all the individual living entities, beginning from the first great teacher, Brahma, down to the small ants. They are unlimited heads, legs, hands, and eyes, and unlimited living entities. All are existing in and on the super soul. Therefore, the super soul is all-pervading. The individual soul, however, cannot say that he has his hands, legs, and eyes everywhere. That is not possible. If he thinks that under ignorance, he is not conscious that his hands and legs are diffused all over, but when he attains to a proper knowledge, he will come to that stage. His thinking is contradictory. This means that the individual soul, having become conditioned by material nature, is not supreme. The supreme is different from the individual soul. The supreme Lord can extend his hands without limit. The individual soul cannot. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that if anyone offers him a flower or a fruit or a little water, he accepts it. If the Lord is a far distance away, how can he accept things? This is the omnipotence of the Lord. Even though he is situated in his own abode, far, far away from it, he can extend his hands to accept what anyone offers. That is his potency. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated, Goloka eva nivashati akhilatma bhutaha. Although he is always engaged in pastimes in his transcendental planet, he is all-pervading. The individual soul cannot claim that he is all-pervading. Therefore, this verse describes the Supreme Soul, the personality of Godhead, not the individual soul.
Right. So, this verse is actually describing Paramatma. Paramatma features of the absolute truth. Right? Remember, in this chapter, Arjuna will be asking 6 questions. So here, uh, on the understanding of Paramatma, Krishna is explaining on the knowledge of Paramatma. Right? So this verse sounds very similar to Purusha Shukta. Right? Have you all heard Purusha Shukta? So if we go to the temple, the Brahmanas will be reciting this mantra. It is from Rig Veda. It is from, there's also from the Bhagavatam also there. Purusha Shukta is there in Bhagavatam, Vedas, the 4 Vedas. Sahasra Sirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishvato Vritvatya Tishta Dashangulam. Something like this. So Sahasra Sirsha Purusha. That means the one who's having Sahasra means what? Sahasra means unlimited, thousands of Sirsha. Sirsha means what? Sirsha means thousands, 8. Sahasra Sirsha Purusha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat. Sahasra Aksha. Aksha means eyes. Thousands of eyes. Sahasrapat. Thousands of feet. Sabhumim Vishvato Vritvya. And Tishta Dashangulam. Right? So he's everywhere from the he's everywhere, all pervading from all sides of the world. And extends beyond the 10 directions. Dasa Angulam. Angulam means the size of this. Dasha means 10. Angulam means the size of the 10 fingers. So, he extends beyond the directions of the 10 directions. Dasa Angulam. Beyond the 10 directions. He extends everywhere, all pervading. So, similar mantra is there also in Purusha Shukta. So, this mantra will be recited by the Brahmanas. ஸோ அதே தான் வந்து இங்கே பகவத்கீதாலையும் வந்து கிருஷ்ணர் இங்கே அர்ஜுனர்கிட்ட சொல்கிறாரு. ஸோ பகவத்கீதா இஸ் நோன் as Gita Upanishad, the Saram of the Vedas, Saram of the Upanishads, essence of the Upanishads. Okay. ஸோ அதனால தான் இங்கே Prabhupada பார்த்தீங்கன்னா Prabhupada is giving the analogy of what? Sun. And just like the sun diffusing its unlimited ray, so does the super soul or supreme personality of Godhead. So he exists in his all pervading form, and in him exist all individual living entities, beginning from the first great teacher Brahma down to the small ants. They are unlimited heads, legs, hands and eyes, and unlimited living entity. All are existing on the super soul. So what is the meaning here? What is the meaning by the word unlimited hands and eyes and aids and faces? The meaning is that Bhagavan is present in each and every of the living entities. So he is there as Paramatma. So he is a knower of everybody. இதுதான் நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். The individual soul cannot say that he has the hands and legs everywhere. No, not possible. We only aware of our hand, our mouth. But Bhagavan knows everyone's hand, everyone's mouth. He is in every living entity, in every atom. புரியுதுங்களா? So therefore he is known as Paramatma, all pervading Vishnu. What is the definition of Vishnu? The very definition of Vishnu is actually all pervading. That's understanding. Vishnu means he's present everywhere. Thuniliyum irupar, thurumbiliyum irupar, everywhere. Right? So, idha anga Prabhupada solraru. So if he thinks that under ignorance he is not conscious that his hands and legs are diffused all over, but when he attains the proper knowledge, he will come to the stage his thinking is contradictory. So this means the individual soul having become conditioned by the material nature is not supreme. The supreme is different. Very important point. So we must understand the Atma is limited and Paramatma is unlimited. The Supreme Lord can extend his hand without limit. ஸோ நீங்கள் பார்த்தீங்கன்னா பகவத்கீதையில் வந்து கிருஷ்ணா சொல்கிறாரு, பத்ரம் புஷ்பம் பலம் தோயம் யோமே பக்தயா பிரயச்சதி. So if someone offers me a flower of fruit, a little water with love, I will accept it. So how can Krishna accept? Krishna is, in Brahma Samhita, அதில் என்ன சொல்லியிருக்காங்க? கோலோக ஏவ நிவசதி அகிலாத்ம பூதஹா. Krishna is where? In Goloka. ஸோ கிருஷ்ணா கோலோக்காலையும் பர்சனலே இருக்காரு, அதே மாதிரி இங்கே பரமாத்மாவா எல்லா இடத்துலையும் இருக்காரு, அதே மாதிரி பர்சனலி அர்ச்ச விக்கிரத்திலும் இருக்காரு. அது நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். அதே மாதிரி நாமத்திலையும் when we chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna is personally present in the Nama. So therefore Krishna is present personally. Nama Nami Abhinnatvam. There is no difference between the name and the Lord, the possessor of the name. Nama Nami. Right? So this is injunction of Shastra. So அதனால தான் Bhagavan can accept. Right? So this is the omnipotence of the Lord. So even he is situated in his own abode, far away from earth, he still can extend his hand to accept what anyone offers. This is his potency. ஸோ பிரம்ம சம்ஹிதாவில் வந்து அதான் சொல்லியிருக்காங்க, கோலோக ஏவ நிவசதி அகில ஆத்மபூதா. ஹீ இஸ் ஆல்வேஸ் ரிசைடிங் இன் கோலோகா and performing eternal pastimes. So but at the same time he is also engaging here, accepting the offering in Jagannath Puri. Bhagavan is giving darshan almost 24 hours. He is giving darshan, he is accepting the bhoga. How it is possible? Bhagavan is personally present in Dwaraka, in all the temples in the forms of Archa Vigraha, in all the temples in the form of Harinama. Bhagavan is present. So very important point is that we must understand the individual soul cannot claim that he is all pervading. We are not all pervading, but Krishna, he is all pervading. So therefore Prabhupada establishes the point that the Atma is always inferior, subordinate to Paramatma. Paramatma and Atma are not equal. You cannot become Paramatma. You are always Mama Eva Amsa Jiva Loke, Bhagavan's Amsa. And only by taking the shelter of Paramatma that you can understand Bhagavan. So in one shloka Krishna says that from me comes knowledge, mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Krishna சொல்றாரு Bhagavad Gita, mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha. From me comes remembrance, knowledge. So and also forgetfulness. So why Krishna is telling that? Because Krishna is there residing in 15:15. Very important shloka. So in residing as Paramatma. Mataf smritir jnanam apohanam cha. Vedasya sarvair aham eva vedyo. Vedanta krit vedavid eva chaham. So we must understand that. So if we go to Srimad Bhagavatam, so this fundamental understanding is given also. Brahmeti. So we are repeating this shloka every time because it is very important. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaneti, Shabdyate. So very important shloka. So vadanti tattvavidas tattvamyak jnanam advayam. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaneti, Shabdyate. So learned transcendentalists who knows the absolute truth called this non-dual substance Brahman. This is a very basic understanding, Brahman. So what is Brahman? Can anyone explain to me what is Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan? Let's see who can explain.
Brahman is the effulgence of the Lord.
Yes, bro.
Okay, Prabhu.
Paramatma
Is the It's all-pervading super soul.
Yes, and Bhagavan,
Bhagwan is a supreme personality of Godhead, Prabhu.
exactly. So you see, in Shastra, these things are very clearly mentioned. So absolute truth, Brahman. This is the very basic understanding. So basic understanding means Brahman means what? So the impersonal Brahman is the glowing effulgence of the Bhagavan as the sun rays. So sunshine, effulgent. So this is Brahman. But the less intelligent people, they think that this is the ultimate. But actually, when you find out beyond this sunlight, there is something where the sunlight is originating from. The Surya ஒளி எங்கிருந்து வருது சூரியன் கிட்ட இருந்து. So therefore, this Brahma Jyoti is coming from Bhagavan. So that is the ultimate understanding. Sachit Ananda Vigraha, where he is a supreme person, eternal form, form full of knowledge, and also form full of bliss. Right? And subordinate to Bhagavan is Paramatma, the all-pervading super soul. Okay, so we must remember this always. So you are not Brahman. You are different than Brahman and Paramatma. Aham Brahmasmi means you are spirit soul. So Sanskrit, Brahman can have multiple meaning. Soul, super soul, Brahmana, learned, mind. So you must be very careful on interpreting the Sanskrit word, right? So we go to chapter 9, because it's very important to understand all this fundamental knowledge. So chapter 9 la pathina of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna will be elaborating further on this understanding of Paramatma. Okay, please we read text 4. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagad avyakta murtina matstani sarva bhutani nachaham te swastitaha. See, Krishna is telling here, by me, in my unmanifested form, the entire universe is pervaded. Very important point. All beings are in me. Allah paranga, all beings are in me, but I am not in them. Okay, don't get confused. This is the first statement. Krishna is telling, I am pervading the entire universe. All beings are in me, and I am not in them. Okay, so next. Krishna is telling, and yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of the living entities, and although I am everywhere, I am not part of this cosmic manifestation. For myself is the very source of creation. Krishna is establishing, he is everywhere. He is everywhere, but still is aloof from this creation. He is everywhere, but he is different from the creation. And next we can understand, he's saying, understand that as the mighty wind blowing everywhere, rest always in the sky, all created beings rest in me. Krishna earlier he said, nothing is in me. Now he is telling everything is resting in me. So this is Bhagavan, Achintya, inconceivable. Everything is resting in Bhagavan, yet he is aloof. He is all pervading, yet he is aloof. This is understanding. So you don't take only one shloka and establishing that, oh, you see, Krishna is out of the creation. No. Oh, Krishna is inside creation, is not present in Goloka. No. So you must understand this Achintya Shakti. Krishna is establishing. He is everywhere. He is inside the creation as well outside the creation. But he is aloof of material creation. So this is the Achintya Shakti we should understand. Right? So here, this is Shloka, chapter 9. Okay. So, and Krishna continues. Okay, we will move on to next Shloka. Sarvendriya gunabhasham, sarvendriya vivarjitam, ashaktam sarva bharchaiva, nirgunam gunabhoktracha. Sarvendriya gunabhasham, sarvendriya vivarjitam, ashaktam sarva bharchaiva, nirgunam gunabhoktracha. Sarvendriya gunabhasham, sarvendriya vivarjitam, ashaktam sarva bharchaiva, nirgunam gunabhoktracha. Yeah, anyone want to try?
Can I, Prabhu?
Yes, try, Prabhu.
Sarvendriya gunapasam, sarvendriya vibirjidam, asaktam sarva vrikshaiva, nirgunam gunabhoktarcha. Very good.
Mataji? Prabhus? Anyone? Yeah.
So I try
Yeah.
Sarvendriya Gunabhasham Sarvendriya Vivarjatam Asattam Sarva Brachaiva Nirgunam Guna Bocharcha. Hare
Yeah.
Krishna.
The super soul is the original source of all senses. Okay, let's now read this translation. Very important. So, Sarvendriya Gunabhasham. Okay. So, Sarva of all Indriya senses, Guna of the qualities, Abhasam the original source, Sarva all Indriya senses, Vivarjitam being without, Ashaktam without attachment, Sarva Brit the maintainer of everything, Cha also, Eva certainly, Nirgunam without material qualities, Guna Bhukt master of Gunas, Cha also. So, it is mentioned here, Krishna is explaining, the super soul is the original source of all senses. Yet, he is without senses. Sarvaindriya gunabhasham, Sarvaindriya vivarjitam. So, okay, now what is the meaning of this place? All of you are student of Bhagavad Gita, and we have already come into chapter 13. So when the Vedas, when the Shastras are mentioning such word as, super soul is the source of all senses, but he is without senses. What is the meaning, Prabhuji? Mataji, anyone want to explain
Maybe
this word?
what we are trying to say here is like source of all senses means the material senses, like everything was created through the super soul. But he's without senses means he's not with those material senses.
So
That's
did
what
he?
he said.
So did he have sense? Paramatma, did he have sense or no? So it's stated here that he is without senses. Indriya vivrjitam. Okay. So now can we accept this as Paramatma got no senses?
No.
Spiritual senses, Prabhu.
Yes. So very important point. You see, if Paramatma got no sense, then it is nonsense. That's why it's called nonsense. So definitely Paramatma is actually, you see, Paramatma is the source of the senses. So if something is the source of something, then he must possess that thing. You know what I mean? If I say, I am the owner, I am the billionaire, that means I must have much more. If I own everything, that means personally I owns. If Paramatma is a source of senses, but he is without sense, doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? That means he must occupy something superior than us. So he is the source of all senses. So our senses are material. And Krishna, Paramatma, his senses are spiritual. So the Mayavadis, they will also translate his verse in a contraindicating way. They will say that God has no form, God has no sense. So this is nonsense. Right. So, very important. So, he is unattached. Although he is the maintainer of all living beings. Yes, he is not attached to the material creation. He is not attached, he is not influenced by the material energy. He transcends the mode of nature. The point. He transcends the mode of nature. Daivi esha gunamayi. Mama maya duradyaya. Krishna says, my divine energy, my maya, it is actually my energy. So, who surrender unto me, they can overcome. So, at the same time, he is the master of all moods of material nature. Right? That means he is not influenced by the nature. Because why? Because he is the master. He is without senses because his senses are spiritual. That is why he is the source of all senses. So, this is the qualities of Paramatma. So, nowhere you will learn this. Only in Bhagavad Gita, only in Sanatana Dharma, only in Vedas. These wonderful informations are given about the absolute truth. Nowhere in any other scriptures you can find this information. Okay, so this is the beauty. Okay. So the Supreme Lord, although the source of all the senses of living entity, doesn't have material. See, immediately Prabhupada is establishing the point. Although he is a source of all sense of living entity, he doesn't have material senses like they have. So actually the individual souls have spiritual senses, but in conditioned life they are covered with the material element, and therefore the senses activities are exhibited through matter. Very important point. And that means even Atma in its Swarupa form, Atma is is bestowed with what? Spiritual senses, spiritual form, right? So due to conditioned life, they are covered with the material element, and therefore the sense activity are exhibited through matter. So the Supreme Lord senses are not so covered. His senses are transcendental and therefore called Nirguna. So, this is the Artham Nirgunathukku. Nirgunana is not that no sense. Nirguna means no material sense. Okay, Guna means the material modes, but his senses are without material covering. It should be understood that his senses are not exactly like ours. Although he is the source of all our sensory activities, he has his transcendental senses which are uncontaminated. Okay. This is very nicely explained in Shvetashvatara Upanishad. 390 in the verse Apanipado Javano Grahita. Very important. Upanishad is describing, you see here, what is Pani? We have seen just now. What is the meaning Pani?
Hands.
Hands.
Pada?
Feet.
Feet. So in Sanskrit, when you put the letter A, it becomes Apani. Apani means no
Material.
hand. No hand.
No hand.
Apani. Pani means hand. Apani, no hand.
Hands.
Apani pado, that means no hand, no feet. Apani pado javano grahita. So, what is the meaning of this verse actually? The Supreme Personality of Godhead has no hands which are materially contaminated, but he has his hands and accepts whatever sacrifice offered to him. So, Bhagavan got no form. He is Nirguna. Bhagavan got no material form. This is understanding. But he has a form, spiritual form, Satchit Ananda. அதனால தான் பகவான் வந்து சாரங்க பாணியா கும்பகோணத்தில் இருக்காரு, சக்கர பாணியா கும்பகோணத்தில் இருக்காரு, ரங்கநாதரா ஸ்ரீரங்கத்தில் இருக்காரு, வரதராஜா பெருமாளா காஞ்சிபுரத்தில் இருக்காரு. ஸோ அப்போ எப்படி? ஸோ பகவான்ஸ் ஃபார்ம்ஸ் ஆர் ஸ்பிரிச்சுவல். இதுதான் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங். ஸோ be very careful. That is why you need the explanation from Itihasa, explanation from Puranas to understand the Vedas. Rig, Yajur, Sama, Atharva. To understand the Upanishads, You need to read the Purana. Bhagavata Purana is the ultimate. Then you can explain what is the meaning of the word Apanipado. Otherwise, you will be misled by thinking that God has no form. புரியுதுங்களா? அதனால தான் நம்ம என்ன செய்யணும்? பாகவதம் படிக்கணும். பகவத்கீதா, the Saram of Upanishad, Gita-Upanishad, அது படிக்கணும். Then you can understand the Vedas. Okay, so it is said that the Vedas instructs us like a master, and the Purana instructs us like a friend, right? And the poems instruct us like a wife. What's the meaning? So basically, when you read Shastra, it is very instructive, like a master, like this. Apanipado Javano Grahita, Supreme Personality got no head and no feet. So how to understand this? So you have to need to look into the Itihasa Purana. So it will explain to you like a friend, illustrate to you the meaning. And also, like if you see, poem means what? Poem is also Itihasam, like Ramayana. Ramayana is the greatest poem. So when you read Ramayana, then you know what is the meaning of Dharma, what is the meaning of Varnashrama. So it explains to you very sweetly like a wife. So this is the meaning, it is there. So that is why we need to read Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Otherwise, if you directly go and read the Vedas, you will get confused. So this is the distinction between the conditioned soul and super soul. Right? He has no material eyes, but he has eyes. Otherwise, how could he see? He sees everything past, present, and future. So as a student of Bhagavad Gita, we must know these things very carefully. Don't get confused. When someone come and tell you, oh, in the Vedas, in the Upanishad, it is stated that Pratimanasti. Pratimanasti means God has no form, and you people are worshipping idols. You people are worshipping the form, and all these are idol worships. So your people are against your Vedas. You people are ignorant. That means we are easily influenced by such rascals who misinterpret the Vedas. So first of all, they got no any rights even to actually study the Vedas, because they are not qualified. They are not coming from the parampara. So that is why we need to hear from the bona fide sampradaya. Otherwise, what do? You will be influenced by them, and you will think that, oh, நம்ம தான் இது தப்பா இருக்கும், இவன் ரைட்டா சொல்றான்னு சொல்லி you will follow them. The blind follow the blind, and both of them will fall into the dark well, gone. Right? So he lives within the heart of the living being, and he knows what we have done in the past, what we are doing now, and what is awaiting us in the future. ஸோ பகவானுக்கு நம்ம என்னன்னா எத்தனையோ ஜென்மம் எடுத்திருக்கோம். ஸோ என்னென்ன செய்கிறோன்னு எல்லாமே தெரியும். ஸோ எத்தனையோ பில்லியன் பிறவைகள் எடுத்திருக்கோம். ஸோ அதோடைய பாவம்லாம் சில சமயம் நம்ம இப்போ அனுபவிக்கலாம். ஸோ கிருஷ்ணா நோஸ் what is happening. Our knowledge is very limited. So therefore we must have full conviction, and we must simply surrender to the will of Lord. So this is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. He knows everything, but no one knows him. Yes. Krishna will be telling Arjuna, I knows everyone. I know everybody, but no one knows me. Chapter 4. So it is said that the Supreme Lord has no legs like us, but he can travel throughout space because he has spiritual legs. Very important. So adanala da when Lord Krishna he manifests his pastime here, right? His body is spiritual. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvataha. So in chapter 4 Bhagavad Gita it is stated, Janma karma chame divyam. Bhagavan's activity, Bhagavan's birth, Janma. Janma means birth, Karma means activity. Bhagavan's incarnation, everything spiritual, Divyam. Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tadvataha tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti so Arjuna. So anyone who understands this tattva, anyone who understands this factual statement that Krishna's body is spiritual, upon leaving the body, he doesn't take birth again. Tyaktva deham, deham means body. Upon leaving the body, he doesn't take birth again. இதான் நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். So when Krishna he disappeared, he at the end of his pastime he disappeared. So எப்படி disappear பண்ணாரு? How Krishna concluded his pastime 5,000 years ago? How Krishna concluded? So many people will say, oh, Krishna was killed by the arrow of Jara. Hunter. You see, Krishna have been killed. Krishna have died. Rascals. God cannot be killed. God cannot die. So when we read all books, there are many books, commentary on Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and the Leelas of the Lord. So these rascals who claimed themselves to be the scholars of Sanskrit, scholars of Hindu, they will comment that, you see, Krishna have been killed 5,000 years ago by the hunter. The arrow struck the foot while Krishna was resting under the tree. So first of all, you have to understand, Janma karma chame divyam. Krishna's body is spiritual. Krishna's leg is spiritual. You can never kill Krishna. Bhagavan. So Krishna was standing in the middle of the battlefield. He was facing millions of the armies. No one can touch him. No one can neither touch Arjuna because Bhagavan is present. And do you think some random hunter can simply come and kill Krishna by piercing the arrow on his foot? So now புரிஞ்சுக்கணும், this is Krishna's will, that he wanted to conclude the pastime in such a way to bewilder, this is explained in Bhagavatam, to bewilder the atheistic rascals, to bewilder the Mayavadis, so that the real devotees, they will understand. So this is such a pastime, such a wonderful pastime for the Lord. Only the devotees can understand. Otherwise, we will be thinking, oh, Lord Rama have passed away, Lord Krishna has died. So all these are mythology. We'll very proudly say mythology, myth. In fact, the word myth itself is coming from Sanskrit. Myth means mithya. Mithya means it is false. Mythos. The word mythos, myth is coming from Sanskrit word mithya. So these rascals, so-called scholars, they got no any proper knowledge. They don't know Krishna. Right? So very careful. So sometimes they might come and tell you, you see, how can you worship Krishna? Because Krishna was killed by the arrow. Right? So what is your answer? You must quote Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tadvataha. Was able to quote this verse. Krishna's body is not material. No one can kill God. So Krishna is aloof from the material energy. He is not controlled by time. You must understand, Krishna is the creator of time. He is not controlled by time. He is not controlled by a random activity. He is not controlled by any luck. He is the creator of luck. Lakshmi is sitting on his padam. Lakshmi is massaging his feet. So no way that he can be struck by unfortune or what. So இதெல்லாம் நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். ஸோ கிருஷ்ணா அவருடைய கர்மத்துக்காக அவர் கஷ்டப்பட்டாரு. கிருஷ்ணா ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்பட்டாரு. அவர் காலில் அவர் பாவத்தினால அவர் காலில் அடிச்சிட்டாங்க. வாட் நான்சென்ஸ். And these rascals, they will glorify Karna. Oh, Karna, he is great. Karna is a Dharmakarta. So So this is the types of rascals we are having right now. So Karna, he disobeyed the instruction of Krishna. He was on the sides of the demons, Duryodhana, right? So therefore he was slain. So no matter how great you are, no matter how philanthropic you are, நீங்கள் போயிட்டு பல பேருக்கு காசு கொடுக்கலாம், அன்னதானம் பண்ணலாம், உங்களுடைய சொத்தை தானம் பண்ணலாம், உயிரே கொடுக்கலாம். ஆனால் நீங்கள் பகவானை ஏற்றுக்கலனா you are demon. This is the verdict of Mahabharata. So don't come and tell me Karna is Dharmakarta. No, he is a rascal. This is the injunction of Mahabharata. Right? So because anyone who don't follow the instruction of Krishna, they are demons. This is what Krishna says. Maya pritanyana. Krishna says they are Muda. So இதை நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். Right? So in other words, the Lord is not impersonal. Very simple. The Lord is a person. He has his eyes, legs, hands, everything else. And because we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, we also have these things. But his hands, legs, and eyes and sense are not contaminated by material nature. So this so-called historian, they will try to say, oh, Krishna is a great person. Krishna is a great personality. No. He's more than that. He's not just a person. He's a supreme personality of Godhead. Adha purinjikkanum. It is not that he lived on this earth 5,000 years ago. No. Krishna got no birth, no death. Krishna is Ajo. Krishna is beyond birth and death. Krishna, he is ever existing. So don't think that Krishna only appeared 5,000 years ago. Krishna was there. Krishna is eternal. So do we. We are also eternal. For the sake of manifesting pastime, he appeared. That we must understand. Not that only Krishna came 5,000 years ago and Bhagavad Gita was spoken 5,000. No. Bhagavad Gita was spoken eternally in different planets. Krishna established this in Bhagavad Gita. Initially, he spoke this million years ago to the sun god. Right? So we must understand this. So Bhagavan is not controlled by time. Bhagavan is not controlled by karma. Bhagavan is not controlled by the three modes of material nature. In fact, he is the control of all these things. So please understand this thing. Don't get confused. Right? So Bhagavad Gita also confirms that when the Lord appears, he appears as he is by his internal potency. He is not contaminated by the material nature because he is a Lord of material energy. Yes. ஓ ராமர் கஷ்டப்பட்டார்ப்பா, அவர் ஒரு சிறந்த மனிதர். நிறைய பேர் சொல்லுவாங்க ராமர் ஒரு சிறந்த மனிதர், சிறந்த ராஜா, அவர் ரொம்ப கஷ்டப்பட்டு தர்மத்தை ஃபாலோ பண்ணாரு. Ram, he is Bhagavan. He is acting as a human being for his pastime. அது முதல்ல நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். ராமர் யாருன்னு புரிஞ்சுக்காம சும்மா ராமாயணம் படிச்சுக்கிட்டு ராமாயணம் பேசினா புண்ணியம் கிடையாது. முதல்ல ராமர் சாக்ஷாத் பகவான் புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். ஓ ராமர் சீதை காட்டுக்கு அனுப்பிட்டாரு, தப்பான முடிவு பண்ணிட்டாரு, என்ன சொல்றது, உமன் அபியூஸ் பண்ணிட்டாரு. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரிலாம் பேசுவாங்க the demons, atheistic rascals. So because they don't understand Rama and Sita. Sita Devi is Lakshmi Devi. Lakshmi Devi is internal potency. No one can touch internal potency. Ravana cannot kidnap Sita Devi. In fact, when you read Ramayana, you will understand. Actually, the one which was kidnapped by Ravana is the illusory energy of Sita. It's illusory energy. It's not Sita Devi actually. இதெல்லாம் தத்துவங்கள் படிக்கும்போது ராமாயணத்தில் எக்ஸ்பிளைன் பண்ணுறாங்க. பட் ஸ்டில் ஃபார் த பாஸ்ட் டைம், எஸ், சீதா வாஸ் கிட்னாப்ட். பட் யூ மஸ்ட் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்ட், நோ ஒன் கேன் டச் லக்ஷ்மி. நோ ஒன். யூ திங்க் Ravana can touch Lakshmi? No way. Right? So that's why you must read Shastra, you must read Ramayana. So in the Vedic literature, we find that his whole embodiment is spiritual. He has the eternal form, Satchidananda Vigraha. இதை நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். So he is full of opulence, he is the proprietor of wealth and the owner of all energy. He is the most intelligent and most full of knowledge, So these are some symptoms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the maintainer of all living entities and the witness of all activity. So as far as we can understand from the Vedic literature, the Supreme Lord is always transcendental. Although we do not see his head, face, hands and legs, he has them. And when we are elevated to the transcendental situation, we can see the Lord's form. Due to materially contaminated senses, we cannot see his form. Therefore, the impersonalists who are still materially affected cannot understand the personality of Godhead. நீங்கள் கடவுளை பார்த்துருக்கீங்களா? இப்போ நிறைய பேர் கேட்பாங்க, நீங்கள் கடவுளை பார்த்துருக்கீங்களா? கடவுளை யாரும் பார்த்து கிடையாது. ஓகேங்களா? they will come to the conclusion. நல்லா பேசுவாங்க, பெரிய வித்வான் மாதிரி பேசுவாங்க. நீங்கள் கடவுளை பார்த்ததில்லை, நானும் பார்த்ததில்லை, யாரும் பார்த்ததில்லை. என்னத்துக்கு கடவுளை அழிச்சிக்கிட்டு இருக்கீங்க? மனசுக்கு எது நல்லதுப்படுதோ செய்யுங்க, அப்படி பேசுவாங்க. முதல்ல நம்ம என்ன புரிஞ்சுக்கிறோம்னா, கடவுளை பார்த்துருக்காங்க, நீங்க பார்த்தது இல்லைன்னா அதுக்குன்னு மற்றவங்க பார்த்தது இல்லைன்னு கிடையாது. டோன்ட் ஜட்ஜ் த சிச்சுவேஷன் அக்கார்டிங் டு யுவர் ஃபுல்லிஷ்னஸ். ஜஸ்ட் பிகாஸ் யூ cannot do something, just because you're not expert in doing something, that doesn't mean some other people are also not expert. So we must understand, Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita, Raja Vitya Raja Guhyam Pavitramidam Uttamam Praktaksha Vagamam Dharmyam Susukum Kartum Avyayam. So what is the meaning? Bhagavan is establishing Praktaksha-vagamam dharmam. So what is the meaning there? That means you can see Krishna face to face. Praktaksha. So Praktaksha means what? Able to see Krishna face to face. இதான் நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். Praktaksha-vagamam dharmyam. So let me see the shloka. You must know this shloka. So what is the meaning here? Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam. Yes. So Krishna is establishing here that you can see him face to face. So that is why we are studying Bhagavad Gita, right? Pratyaksha Vagamam Dharmyam, right? So you see, what is the meaning? Gives direct perception of the self by realization. So there's also another meaning is that by practicing this Raja Vidya, the king of knowledge, the most secret knowledge, the most purest knowledge, Pavitramidam Uttamam, you can actually perceive directly. Pratyaksha Vagamam. This is the meaning. Pratyaksha Vagamam means direct perception. So the process given in the Shastra is that you can see Krishna directly. That is why in Bhagavad Gita also there's another verse. Tatvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnana jnaninas tattva darshinaha. Jnaninas tattva darshinaha. That means what? The learned, the devotees, jnaninas, the knowledge, the person who's learned, they have seen Lord directly. Darshina means to see. Tattva darshinaha. So therefore he is spiritual master. Therefore you should approach such spiritual master who have seen God. So our Purva Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gaura Kishore Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinoda Thakur, all our 6 Goswamis, all of them have seen God. Not only seen, they have been engaging intimately with God. So this is our Acharyas. All of them are coming from Goloka. So what you are speaking about seeing? We are playing with God, dancing with God. So this is the level of understanding we have on the philosophy of God. Right? So not some vague understanding. So this is the process of bhakti. இதை நம்ம புரிஞ்சுக்கணும். ஸோ யார் கடவுளை பார்த்துருக்கான்ல, கடவுளை பார்க்க முடியும். அதுதான் பகவான் சொல்கிறாரு. கடவுளை பார்க்கணுன்னா இந்த ப்ராசஸ் ஃபாலோ பண்ணால் கடவுளை பார்க்கலாம். தெரிஞ்சுக்கோங்க. டோன்ட் திங்க் தட் யாருமே கடவுளை பார்த்ததில்ல, அது ரொம்ப தப்பான ஒரு விஷயம், நாஸ்திகவாதி அது. Because some ignorant people will say this, some rascals will say this. They think that just because they cannot see, everyone cannot see. This is foolishness. Okay, so because we have evidence from Shastra, pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam ஞானினாஸ் தத்துவ தர்ஷினஹா. அவ பூர்வ ஆச்சாரியாஸ் பாகவத புராணத்தில் வந்து பார்க்கலாம் எப்படி பகவான் இஸ் கம்மிங். We have seen in the case of Durvasa Muni and Ambarish Maharaj, how Lord Vishnu, he summoned the chakra. So we have seen in Ajamila, in the pastimes of Ajamila, how the Vishnu Dutas come personally to save Ajamila. We can see in the pastimes of Gajendra Moksha, how Lord Vishnu came personally to save Gajendra. We can see in Mahabharata, how personally Krishna came to save Draupadi. How personally Krishna saved Arjuna. ஸோ இதுதான் இத்திஹாசம், புராணம். அதை படித்தா நம்மளுக்கு தெரியும் என்ன அர்த்தம்னு, கடவுளை எப்படி பார்க்குறதுன்னு. குந்தி தேவி பிரேயஸ் இருக்கு. ஸோ அதெல்லாம் தெரிஞ்சுக்காம கடவுளை பார்க்க முடியாது. ஸோ இது ஒரு முட்டாள்தனம். அதுதான் வந்து சாஸ்திரம் சொல்லுது. ஓகே, ஸோ we will stop here. Already 1 hour. Okay, so is there any question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yeah, சொல்லுங்க பிரபு.
Today I encountered a situation. I've been how can I say? I started my internship in a law firm, and one of the lawyer questioned me. Some of the colleagues know I read Bhagavad Gita, and then they mentioned to him, and then he asked me whether I read Mahabharata or not. And then he said that I should read Mahabharata first to relate which character I connect the most to understand Bhagavad Gita. But I beg to differ on that matter. So, but I don't know how to properly, how can I say, refute the saying he's giving. Like, for example, a person should understand Mahabharata in order to understand Bhagavad Gita properly. So what would you say on that matter?
Yeah. So very simple. We follow the process given by Acharya, the spiritual scientist, right? So if you are going to say it, follow this process, 1,000 people will have 1,000 process. So first of all, you must ask, what is your pramana? What is your evidences? Because you are a lawyer, when you are going to argue a case in the court, you must have evidences based on the law book. You cannot come and create your own law. Okay, so you go and think of a law, and you see which is resonating most with you, then you speak on that law. No, you cannot create a law, or you cannot even speculate on certain processes. This is a defective understanding most people have. So Mahabharata, it have 100,000 shlokas. First of all, do you have the time to finish Mahabharata? That's question number 1. Question number 2, there are many versions of Mahabharata, many polluted, many contaminated verses, because many of the verses have been mistranslated, right? So there are many versions. So how you know that is authentic? Because just like a simple analogy, like I can write some book on law, on some law, because I'm not a law person, I'm not a lawyer. So if I write such book, it got no value. It is simply speculation. So you must judge the outer. இவர் யார், இவர் உண்மையிலே லா படிச்சிருக்காரா, So similarly, you must also see the Mahabharata is coming from whom? Who is the translator? Because we don't understand Sanskrit. So when the translator go and translate according to his limited understanding, we are gone. You know what I mean or not? So there are many pitfalls. By following his process, there are many pitfalls. So you cannot finish the 100,000 shlokas, and by reading the translation, you don't even mostly you cannot understand most of the things, and then the translation might be wrong and might lead you to a different direction, to a wrong direction. So இதுதான் என்ன சொல்றதுன்னா speculation, expert speculators. Prabhupada called them expert speculators. So it's a wise advice, very nice advice that he wanted to read Mahabharata. That is very good. But the point here is, you must tell him, the essence of Mahabharata is Bhagavad Gita. So when you read Bhagavad Gita, then it's equivalent to reading Mahabharata, not only Mahabharata, but also all the Shastra, all the Upanishads. This is the injunction of Lord Shiva, Shankaracharya. In Gita Mahatmya, Lord Shiva says that simply by reading Bhagavad Gita, it is the essence of all Vedic scriptures. So this is pramana. I am giving you pramana. So you give me pramana. So I was very என்ன சொல்றது, it is very interesting to hear the phrases that you read Mahabharata and see which character you resonate most. So how if I resonating with Dronacharya, Duryodhana? How if I resonate with the character Duryodhana? You tell me. I read Mahabharata and the most resonating character with me is Duryodhana. Most resonating character is Saguni. So now how? You tell me. So Duryodhana, he planned to undrape a woman, right, in the assembly hall. So is it okay if I resonate with Duryodhana? That's the next question you should ask him. Is it okay? Answer me, Prabhu. Is it okay? So, so that is why you cannot speculate on what character you resonate. You follow what is dharma. You follow what is shastra. You follow the process. This is how you must explain to him. So you see Bhagavad Gita as it is coming from shastra, coming from Guru Parampara, and simply by learning this, there is a purport by Acharya, you can understand the Mahabharata and the Vedas. இதுதான் பாயிண்ட். நீங்கள் மகாபாரதா படிங்க, அப்போ தான் உங்களுக்கு தெரியும் எந்த கேரக்டர் ரெசனேட் பண்ணுதுன்னு. ஸோ அப்போ அது என்ன சொல்கிறதுனா, கேன் யூ சே தட் you how to become a lawyer? Very simple. How to become a lawyer? Just go and study any book, any law book which you feel resonating, or just go and admit yourself in a university which you feel resonating. You cannot. You must have a process. Why when you are doing material study, you don't follow the process of resonating? But when come to Mahabharata and spiritual study, you are trying to do some bogus speculating understanding. So, I mean, I am not criticizing or attacking the person. It's very nice of him to speak about Mahabharata. But naturally, I got triggered when I see such speculators. It is everywhere. It is like a malignancy cancer in our society, that is rascals like to speculate. That's why I'm being very heavy here. But the point is, yes, at least he have some thoughts of reading Mahabharata. That is a very good, excellent. But you should guide him and tell him that the best way to understand Mahabharata is actually by reading Bhagavad Gita as it is. So you buy him a Bhagavad Gita and present to him. You go and read this. Then you will see what is resonating on you. You tell him. You read this and tell me what resonates to you. Right? So all these things are, what do we call? Speculators. Prabhupada called them mental speculators. Maya aprita jnana. Whose knowledge are stolen by the illusory energy. So if I read Ramayana and if I resonate with Ravana, is it okay? Of course it is okay. Right now people are also worshipping Ravana in Tamil Nadu. certain groups of rascals are worshipping Ravana. Just because Ravana is opposing Rama, so they worship Ravana. Anyone who opposes Rama, they will worship. So these are the types of rascals we are having right now. Right? So very dangerous understanding. You read and you go according to what you feel. I feel nonsense. You are under four defect. Imperfect senses, under illusion, cheating tendency, and making mistake. So don't follow your speculative senses. This is the understanding. So yes, we have Prabhu. I would like to add something, Prabhu. Dinesh Prabhu, please.
Prabhu, I just want to ask regarding that person,
Yes.
which version of Mahabharata did that person read?
Yes.
You know, that person who recommended Mahabharata, has he actually finished reading Mahabharata? If yes, which version? Is that
I
an
asked
addition
this
with the
question, but
yeah?
he didn't give me an answer because he said he don't remember which version was it, and he said
Hmm.
he read it a long time ago. So
Hmm.
yeah, he didn't answer the question.
So
Okay, actually, the authentic version of Mahabharata, we can only we should study based on shloka by shloka basis, just like Gita. So there's no, as far as I know, there's no such adequate and elaborate that yet. So apart from that, many of the even in the intro to Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada writes that uh, the Bhagavad Gita as it is meant to replace all the other versions written by mental speculators. So even for Mahabharata, there are such similar versions also. Even they have this. There are also this kids version, like the Amar Chitrakatha kind of Mahabharata versions. So those who merely read those simplistic and unauthorized versions, they will start to give lectures. And if that person is saying that Mahabharata is a prerequisite to study Bhagavad Gita, is it stated anywhere in the Gita that one should read Mahabharata to understand Gita?
right.
So why are people so keen on speaking on himself did not say? There's no such instruction in the Gita that you must study Mahabharata, right? So again, it's a question of pramana. So it's of course it's very common in our society only, in our Hindu community, that people tend to speculate and give all these instructions. I'm really keen to know which version that person read, because the problem with people like this, they won't even study the Mahabharata, they won't even study Gita. Then when we talk about Gita to them, they'll say, "No, I want to finish studying all the Vedas first," as though we have all the time in this Kali Yuga. So they will end up doing nothing, and they also expect us to be like them. That's all, Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. Yes, so the point is very simple. So, as Prabhu said, there is no any injunction that we should study Mahabharata to understand Gita. So, that is simply his own speculation. So, since you have completed Mahabharata, I also like to know. So, which character does he resonate with?
He said Karna. I asked the
Very good.
question.
I told you, that means he's a rascal. Conclusion is a rascal. That's what I tell him. Right? So, when you read Mahabharata and you resonate with Karna, so that means you are also like him, which is a rascal. So that is a conclusion we can know. So no further inquiries. No need to ask him anything. We know already what is the position. So give him a Bhagavad Gita. That's the best thing you can do. Okay, but yeah. So because why people love Karna? Because they don't understand what is dharma. If you don't know what is dharma, then you will love the most adharmic people. So this is what happening in also Tamil Nadu. Same thing. This rascal doesn't know dharma, so they will think that whatever they do is dharma. So everywhere this is the problem. So that's why they like, because Karna is a philanthropic. He likes to give charity. He likes to do good things and he suffered, so-called suffered a lot. But that is why he said Karna is very pity of him. People abused him. Krishna cheated him. Pandavas cheated him. But if you see the real story in Mahabharata, he was on the sides of Duryodhana. He was one of the plan makers for draping the clothes of Draupadi. He was also one of the sketch maker to kill the Pandavas. He was also one of the initiators to start the Mahabharata war. So many things he did. So yes, so how can he is a most dharmic person? So what is the definition of dharma? Adam point. What is the definition of dharma? Dharma is not that how much charity you give. Dharma means dharmam tu shakshat bhagavat pranitam. Dharmam tu shakshat bhagavat pranitam. What is the instruction of Krishna? That is dharma. So Arjuna followed dharma because Arjuna followed Krishna's instruction. So therefore he is he is the most dharmic person. So anyone who don't follow dharma, Krishna's instruction, he is a dharmic person. Is the conclusion. So when you are resonating with such character, that means we can know what is your consciousness. So the real goal, you see, Krishna says, Vedasya sarvair ahameva vedyo. Vedasya sarvair ahameva vedyo. That means the goal of studying Mahabharata is to know Krishna. But the goal of you studying Mahabharata is to know Duryodhana, Karna, and Ramayana, to know Ravana. That means you have gone. You already run away from the track, deviated from the track. So that is why, our acharyas are telling, one may study Shastra, one may study Bhagavad Gita, one may chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and still he cannot go back to Krishna. Because this is the level. So, we can take the example of Ravana. Ravana is an expert in the Vedas. He knows all the Vedas. He is an expert, You don't think Ravana is, ignorant in the Veda. He knows the Vedas. He knows all the verses. He can immediately compose prayers to Lord Shiva, immediately within seconds. He composed prayers to Lord Shiva, glorifying Lord Shiva. So this is the level of Ravana. So, but still, they don't understand the goal of the reading Shastra. So that means you can be a demon and still loitering around by studying Shastra. That is why we can see many asuras in the history, like Ravana, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Banasura. Banasura is a devotee of Lord Shiva also. So all these asuras, they are also expert in the Vedas. But they don't understand the purpose of Vedas. So therefore they'll be killed by the Lord ultimately. So the point is to understand Krishna. Otherwise you have known nothing. So Prabhu, that means this is a clear evidence how the mentality of our society. So when it comes to the spiritual subject matter, they don't want to think. When come into spirituality, they think that whatever they do, that is the best. So we must actually chop off this tendency, speculating tendency. அது இது ஒரு புது விஷயம் கிடையாது. எல்லாருக்கும் இதுதான் பிரச்சனை. எங்க போனாலும் இதுதான் பிரச்சனை. Recently I was also talking with same problem. So என்ன செய்யறது? So we have to very tactfully give them, very logically explain to them. Now the problem is, they are thinking that they are very intelligent. So that is a problem. So they are not willing to get the knowledge because they think they have know everything. I've read Mahabharata. I've completed 100,000 shlokas. I've read Ramayana. I know everything. அதான் பிரச்சனை. ஸோ இந்த மாதிரி நீங்க பாத்தீங்கன்னா பல பேர் இருக்காங்க. They have studied Kamba Ramayana. They have studied Valmiki Ramayana. And they give their own commentary on Ramayana. In Tamil Nadu, நிறைய scholars, நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க. They have PhD in Tamil and Sanskrit. புக்கு வெளியாக்கி இருக்காங்க. But what is their conclusion? Mythology. Rama is just a great person. Gone. So, அதனால தான் we must be very careful. to only read granthas which is authorized coming from sampradaya. That's point. So you give him example, like how I explained to you. If you want to become a lawyer, you must follow the law books. You don't follow any nonsense books, and you don't go by the approach of resonating. So you ask him, what if I resonate with Duryodhana, or what if I resonate with some other people? Then why? What does it mean, right? So then I also want to know what is the next step. So now you have completed Mahabharata, is resonated with Karna. So now when he read Bhagavad Gita, what happened? So is he eligible to read Bhagavad Gita now? அதான் கேள்வி. ஸோ நீங்கள் என்ன பண்ணணும், வெரி நைஸ், யூ ஹவ் கம்ப்ளீட் மகாபாரதா, ஸோ ஹியர் யூ கோ, நவ் இஸ் நெக்ஸ்ட் டு ரீட் பகவத் கீதா. அதான் அவர் சொன்னார், மகாபாரதா படிச்சுட்டு தான் பகவத்கீதா படிக்கணும்னு சொன்னார். இப்போ நீங்கள் என்ன சொல்லணும், நீங்கள் எக்ஸலண்ட் மகாபாரதா படிச்சிட்டீங்க, இப்போ நீங்கள் பகவத்கீதா படிக்கணும்னு கொடுங்க, அவ்வளோதான் பாயிண்ட்டு. சரிங்களா? ஸோ ஐ ஹோப் தட் ஹெல்ப்ஸ். ஸோ தேங்க்யூ வெரி மச். எனி அதர் கொஸ்டின்ஸ்? Okay, thank you very much. Vancha kalpatarobhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Granthrat Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Thank you
Hare
very
Krishna.
much.